I don't think it's any mystery that you can use music to teach visualization. But what song would you use and how would you execute it? First, I choose songs that students are not familiar with. Maybe these are less popular or old people songs or songs without lyrics like instrumental or classical music. Humanities teacher Dan Myers from Zionsville Middle School uses classical music several times during the year with his fifth graders to work on visualization. Most recently, he chose Carl Orff's O Fortuna, a classical song that his students loved. While he played the song, he turned out the lights. He encouraged students to close their eyes, even put their heads down, so they could really focus on the visualization in their mind's eye. He wanted them to think about frame by frame, what pictures go with those sounds, those instruments, the volume, the pacing. The students become the music video directors of this song. You might play the song twice. First with the lights off, eyes closed, heads down, and then a second time with the lights on. Students have blank paper and crayons or colored pencils, markers, and they create their visualization. Now, what makes visualization different from imagination is that it's rooted in the text. In other words, they have to cite evidence for what they envisioned. So, after sketching their visualization, have students write or explain using textual evidence what in the song made them think of that. This is Emily's visualization while listening to O Fortuna, and her explanation that accompanies it says this: "My drawing is what I thought the song was about. I imagined that the song was about a person's travel to heaven. I thought this because the song, O Fortuna, was dramatic, sorrowful, and exciting. Similar to what I think a trip to heaven would be like. These were the step-by-step visuals I imagined." Now remember, all visualizations are inferences, and an inference is where you take the text, the details from the text, in this case the song, and background knowledge from the reader or the listener. Depending on the personal experiences or ideas that the listener is thinking of, they're going to visualize different things. Let's look at another example from another fifth grader. While listening to O Fortuna, Annadelle related the song to an earlier class conversation about the Revolutionary War. Annadelle explained the visualization by writing, "My drawing is a battle with brave soldiers on both sides. One of the brown-coated soldiers is shot and passes. They surrender, and the red-coated soldiers now have control of the hill where they pass through." Now you could play the music and allow students to record their visualizations without any parameters of a particular topic. But you could have students visualize based on a particular topic of study, a content area subject, a concept, or a novel. Let me show you one final visualization by a fifth grader, and this one was based on the song O Fortuna and the novel Chains by Laurie Halse Anderson. Catherine explains her visualization in writing. "My picture is of the Ku Klux Klan who burned blacks, and in the music, I heard a wish for freedom and a crying out of all the pain they had endured. I also showed a pair of chained hands being hit by a rope. That was the slaves' pain that they had to endure. In the music, I heard not a cry for vengeance, but a plea for mercy. I heard how wrong it was that people were treated as though they had committed some horrible crime, that they needed to be punished just by being born." How's that for visualization? I love it, and it's rooted in the text, the audio text of music, and documenting their thinking.